Obviously, I think we've got Craig Braffett, who opens the batting, who's done pretty well. We've got young Hatimaya. We've got Rice and Chase and those guys who have done pretty well. But I mean, really and truly, you've got Jason down at the bottom, and then you've got young Darridge as well. But I think collectively, if we can play well as a team, we stand a better chance of beating India. And hopefully we'll be able to, play as a team in all three capacity, batting, bowling, and fielding. We may want to point out individuals, but at the end of the day, I think once we play as a team, gel as a unit, and everyone play their role really well, I think we have a good chance of winning.
That's a diplomatic response, Ron Birch. Sir Curtly Ambrose, when I interviewed him about 2 weeks ago, he indicated that perhaps the best chance that the West Indies has of winning this series, and certainly giving a good account of themselves, is preparing a fast pitch here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. Do you agree with him?
Yeah, you ideally would want a fast pitch, but I think we got to ensure that whatever we're up against, we got to execute our plans, and I think that is key regardless of what surface you play on. Obviously, the guys will have plans. And I think if they can execute at 70 to 80% of the times, we would be able to put ourselves in a good position to take wickets and, of course, get partnerships and stuff like that.
Yes. In terms of yourself and Brian, who was here earlier, Brian had to leave about 2 days ago. In terms of working with a coaching team, how did that modality go?
It's been really well. Obviously, we've had Brian who really try and help the guys mentally, like I've said. So far, they've responded really well. And I think the way he put it over to them was pretty simple, so they understood where he was coming from. Obviously, you got the two coaches, Floyd and the assistant coach who've been doing, and of course Corey as well, the bowling coach. So I think generally the combination of people that we've had, the guys kind of buy into what they're trying to achieve. So hopefully be able to put on display.
And in terms of the two-test series, your own expectations, after having worked with the guys here, your own expectations for how the West Indies will do? One second, please. In earnest here for the first test match of the two-test series, the My Team 11 test series between the West Indies and India. India, of course, will be looking to give a good account of themselves. So will the West Indies. So it will be a match of nerves, it will be a match of will, and certainly a match of skill here as well. Now, the West Indies having so many things going in their favor. One of the things that the West Indies has going in their favor is that they have the expertise, the skill, the experience of a former batsman working with them, Ramnaresh Sarwan. He, along with Brian Charles Lara, were working with a batsman here. Brian Charles Lara had to leave. Ramnaresh Sarwan still here in Antigua working with a batsman ahead of the first day of the first test match, in which Rakeem Cornwall is expected to make his debut. Ramnaresh joins me to talk about what he's seen from his working with a batsman. Ramnaresh, thanks so much for talking with us. Tell me first your assessment after having worked with him.
It's been going pretty well. I think we couldn't ask for anything better. Obviously, the 4 to 5 days we've had, the guys really applied themselves. And I think not only the batters, but also the bowlers, it possessed a challenge for the guys in the net. So it was really good to see and pleasing. So hopefully they'll be able to take that sort of preparation and mentality into the game.
Excellent. And in terms of what were some of the areas that you worked on with the batsman, you along with Brian?
Mostly we've tried to work mentally, especially Brian. Obviously there's not much you can do technically within 4 to 5 days. So we don't really want to try to change anyone. Just trying to keep them in a very clear mindset, and which is very important for them. So hopefully they'll be able to take those stuff into the game.
Yes. So apart from the mental preparation for the game, the mental toughness that's needed, what one area would you think that this short period of working with them has been able to at least improve? What one technical area?
One of the things that Brian stressed on is obviously trying to ensure that they're a little more patient. I think one of the most important things from our perspective is that them understand that they need to be a little more patient. You don't necessarily need to hit the ball in the air to get runs. There are a lot of gaps in the field. So those are areas that we try to, you'll be able to correct without really trying to change anything technically and so forth. So hopefully be able to apply it in the game.
Sir Curtly Ambrose, when I interviewed him about 2 weeks ago, indicated that the best chance perhaps that the West Indies has in his estimation of winning against India would be to prepare fast, bouncy pitches and give the bowlers as good a chance as any to bowl out India twice. Do you agree with him?
Ideally, you would want that, but also you got to take into consideration India has 3 or 4 fast bowlers that bowl between 85 and 90 miles an hour as well. But I think the key to it is to ensure that whatever we've done over the past couple of days, ensure that we try and apply it. But I think if it can done over a longer period of time, the guys put a good first innings total on the board, it will possess a chance to the Indians, regardless of what surface we play on. You don't want the first test match to come on the first day that one team is about 350 for 4 or 5. You basically out of the test match, or you're 6 or 7 down at the end of the day. So we just got to ensure that we take it step by step, and ensure if we to bat first, get a big total, or if we to bowl first, try and make an impact in the first day with our bowling unit.
Yes. Let me ask you finally, a penultimate question, in terms of working with the coaching staff here, of course, interim head coach Floyd Reefer and the other members of the coaching staff. How has that working relationship been?
It's been really well. I must confess that Floyd has given me an opportunity to be very open and straightforward with the guys. And so far everyone has been receptive, which is a very good sign. So hopefully be able to continue over the next couple of days to try and get the guys to continue to do the necessary work to continue during the test match.
I'm going to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot finally.
Again.
Again, right? In terms of West Indies returning to the halcyon days, is this talk about West Indies cricket going back to where it was before, the halcyon days when we were in our heyday, rulers of the world in cricket? What do you think would be perhaps the two things that are needed for that to happen?
I think the point system that is presently implied now, I think that's a golden opportunity for us. So we have something to work with. There's something physically that you can actually work with, and that in itself should be a motivation for the players. Obviously, I think over the years we've been lacking of facilities in the community to help develop our players. So hopefully if we can get facility in place and help develop our players, I'm sure they become better players, because I think international cricket now is not only about talent. There's so many science involved in it, and unfortunately we haven't been able to keep up with the rest of the world. So I think if we can get that in place, we'll be able to improve our players. It has never been a matter where we lack in talent. We've always had the talent, but it's just that development on being able to get players to make the other step.
Yes. All right, Ramnaresh, thanks so much. We really appreciate it. Ramnaresh Rao holds special significance here for Antigua and Barbuda. Apart from the first test taking place here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, well, one of the players who's expected to make his debut for the West Indies is Rakeem Cornwall, a son of the soil who's been knocking on the door of the selectors for quite some time. Finally, he's now being given an opportunity, and we'll now hear from Rakeem in terms of what he intends to do with that opportunity. Rakeem Cornwall, thank you so much for talking with us. Congratulations first, and what's your mindset going into the first test here?
First of all, I say thanks. The mindset is good. I think we have a couple of days preparation, so everything is feeling good at the moment.
Excellent. The work with Ramnaresh Rao and Brian Lara, how was that for you?
It was a learning curve for me. These guys have dominated the world scene, so they teach me a lot, and I just have to put it with my game and see how far I can go.
Excellent. What have you been able to work on during in preparing for the first test here in terms of your own game, in terms of your own, the technical areas of your game? What are some of the areas that you've improved in preparing for this test?
Well, basically, there's more balance and getting my foot closer to the ball and make sure I'm in the right position to play the shots.
Yes. What would you say to fans who are coming out tomorrow? In fact, I hear all your Liberta fellow residents are coming out, and they're all going to be decked out in particular colors and so on. What will you say to the fans who will be expecting so much of you tomorrow?
Well, as I say, you're always good for the country and the community to support. I just have to say, once given the opportunity, I surely will put on a good show for the people of Liberta and make sure they're happy.
Excellent, excellent. Talk to me about the kind of, what does this mean for you, being called up to the West Indies team after having all these consistent performances at the regional level in the West Indies Championships, filling for the West Indies A, now being called up finally. What does it mean for you?
It means a lot. I think I'm pushing for a long time, and now the opportunity comes, so I just have to make sure I make this opportunity count and play for a long period of time.
Excellent, excellent. And in terms of what you've been able to do in the nets so far, bowling, tell me about the batting already. What about the bowling?
The bowling is coming out good, the ball is coming out good. Just trying to work on consistency, put the balls in the right area for a long period of time, and then that's basically what I'm doing for a period of time.
Tell me, what does Rakeem Cornwall bring now to the West Indies team in terms of improving the kind of depth and capacity of the West Indies team?
Normally my skills, just try to learn from the other guys. I'm trying to get myself into the international scene, so just bring my positiveness to the team and see how far we can go.
All right. And of course, one last thing to the fans. You want to shout out anybody in particular?
Oh, really, just have to thank the people from Liberta that will be coming out and support, and make sure everybody gets here safe and have a good test match. Excellent.
Rakeem, thank you so much. Wish you all the best. All the best. Rakeem Cornwall there.
A positive one, the guys are upbeat for the challenge. We've been playing some pretty good test cricket over the last couple of years, and we've been able to put together some series wins which will prove pivotal for our confidence and our development. And I think we started the Test Championship, breed something special. The guys really know what's at stake, and it's just a matter for us to continue to do the small things that we've been doing well and keep building as a unit. Nothing. I don't think it'll be anything different from what we've been doing before. I think the beauty about our successes come from being patient and building impact pressure. I think as a bowling unit, we've been very, very disciplined, and it gave us a lot of positive results in terms of our batting. We've got a number of individual star performers, but I still don't think collectively we've done well enough as a batting unit. So I think the onus is on the batters now to just continue to improve. We have seen a lot of improvement, but we just want to get a little bit more consistency in that department. I think it was very beneficial for the guys. Brian obviously brings a lot of stature and presence in terms of his career and what he's achieved, and the guys were really attuned to what he had to bring to us. And in terms of the mental aspect, I think it was a situation where he came and he broke it down quite nicely for us, and I think he gave us a pretty clear picture of how we can make improvements and how we can build as a unit. Ram Nurse has been awesome in the dressing room as well. He supported Brian quite nicely. He was a little bit more of a tactician in terms of his technical aspects and the way obviously he went about it mentally as well. So I think it was a good mesh having both Brian and Cyrus here, and hopefully in the future we can continue to have them around a little bit more.
Is it common prejudices in the sport as far as formal groups?
Yeah, Rakeem has done well for a number of years in regional cricket, so I think he's deserving of his selection, and hopefully if he gets the opportunity to come in and continue the good work he's shown in 18 cricket and regional cricket. I think a guy like Rakeem has definitely shown his cricketing ability, both with bat and ball and also in the field. I think he's got a big, safe pair of hands. So, if it does boil on, he gets this opportunity, I think he'll grab it with both hands and he'll be just as successful as he has been in regional cricket.
And you yourself, congratulations on your tour once the other night, looking to stamp your authority as the number one test around.
Yeah, I've kind of forgotten about it, to be fair. Yeah, it's all about the team for me. Whatever I can do to contribute to a team win and team success is all I can pretty much pray and ask for. I think I've done the bulk of the work in terms of my preparation. I feel solid in terms of where I want to be at, and it's just a matter for me just to continue what I've been doing in the past. And again, it's just stacking up some balls as a seamer, bowling long spells, and when I get the chance to, with bat in hand, continue to build partnerships at the back of the innings.
Last test you gave me on the toss, you did bowl him out really things to do. You saw that you look at the surface. Does it look like a ball first again?
Well, normally leading up to a test match here, groundsmen tend to put a bit more water in it just to keep the surface together over the 5-day period. So I think it's one of those things where you have to really give it down to the last minute, to make a determination as to where you go. Traditionally, we've probably won the toss and bowl here, and we've had a lot of success. But again, we could come tomorrow where we feel as though it may be a little bit more in the batsman's favour in terms of having good conditions for good batting, and you may go that way. I think it all boils down to what you're faced with on that particular morning.
And going further back, say in the 2016, Cody had double 100. Does that influence anything in your mind at all?
No, not really. Virat is one of the best players in the world. And when you play against the best players in the world, they bring the best out of you. And if we want to beat the best teams in the world, we've got to be able to compete with them for long periods, and we've got to be able to push them. So I'm personally looking forward to the challenge of playing against people like Virat and Ashwin, who are right up there in terms of the individual rankings. But I think from a team perspective, I think we get the best out of ourselves, against the best opposition, and we tend to go hard at them, and that's been our mantra as a side.
And particularly these awards, you mentioned about bowling being which side, but you have the top people to bring yourself, or even different Bihar channel, or different lengths, different lines. And how does that suit the pitch here, and also how does the use of loose ball bring the video field to play that much more than with the Kookaburra?
Well, we haven't played with Kookaburra balls in the Caribbean for quite some time. I think we had the switch under Otis Gibson when he was here quite a while back, so we've been using the juke ball for quite some time, and I think it's worked well for us. I think it's worked well in most places where you play with a juke ball. So Not putting the ball so much in the factor, but I think we've got 3 guys in the top 15 IC bowling rankings for a reason, and that's just boiled down to the experience they've gained, the consistency they've brought, and the level-headedness that they've posed, in terms of their dressing room contributions and obviously on-field contributions. So I think Shannon and Rochi obviously have a big part to play. They've led our bowling attack, for the last 4 or 5 years, and I don't expect anything different from them. They're up for the challenge, and we're looking forward to great things from them.
I have one last one. Obviously you have faced just 3 over a lot of limited overs, that format, but not in those matches, and that's a totally different game of the bowler as well as the batsman. So what sort of mental as well as technical preparation do you take into the series you face high quality bowler like that?
Yeah, I think against the best in the world, you just tend to play the ball. I think that's what we've got to focus on. That 5.5 ounce ball coming down at us, we've just got to make sure that we're zoning on that, regardless of who has it in hand. And I think once we stick to our processes and our preparation, trust our preparation, I think that's all we can rely on under pressure. But having said that, they're quality bowlers. We've got quality bowlers, but at the end of the day, it's still cricket that we're playing. So, we focus on the small things and we play some solid cricket. Yeah, I mean, whoever we go with, in terms of our combination, as I said before, and as you said, we had 4 seamers in our last attack, and it worked well for us. If it's a situation we go that route, then if we do play a spinner, that spinner's job is mainly just to come and, hold things up for us, and if they got the opportunity to express themselves, then they do that. And I think it all boils down to the scenario, how the conditions are. If it's a situation where it's seamer friendly, then if the spinner comes into the attack, his job is not really to attack, but come a hole in for the seamers to express themselves on the next end. Or if it comes in a situation where you've got something that aids the spinners, then the seamers just got a whole strain for the spinner to be able to express themselves. So I think it's as simple as that, regardless of what the team and the opposition. For me, it boils down to conditions and how things go.
Thanks.
All right.